Up next on The Reveal, stolen credit cards, hacked Uber accounts, and drivers looking to make an easy buck.
I earned $53.98 off of this trip.
We follow the money from India to Metro Atlanta in a potential money laundering scheme.
I guess I was struck between, wow, this is a thing, and how ingenious.
A former soap opera TV star convicted of a heinous crime.
It was really surprising. It was really surprising to a lot of us.
Outrage over a judge who says he made a mistake that could allow the actor to walk free.
This is extremely rare. This just really doesn't happen.
The Reveal begins now with investigator Faith Abube and Brendan Keefe.
Welcome to The Reveal, a show where news is made.
Just about everyone has had their identity compromised over the past year, from data breaches to credit card fraud. It happens because it's easy to do and hard to stop. Our investigation exposes an overseas money laundering scheme that could be accessing your accounts without you even realizing it.
It's an everyday event. An Uber ride to the airport.
I earned $53.98 off of this trip.
And this Uber driver, who asked not to be identified, didn't even have to make small talk with the passenger.
So this is Michael?
No, this is Steven.
Steven!
You can understand my confusion over the passenger's name because the passenger we're talking about isn't actually there. This driver just finished what she calls a ghost ride.
This is the one I took Saturday night. It was from Athens to here at a 1.5 surge, which paid me out $60.
$60 to drive no one somewhere. While the passengers may be invisible, there are real drivers making real money doing these rides. And I learned they're using your stolen credit card information to do it. We traced the ringleader of this scheme in Atlanta to a man in India.
If you look on the dark web where personal information is being bought and sold by a criminal, credit card numbers are incredibly inexpensive.
That's Melanie Ensign. She's part of Uber's security team. Thanks to all those data breaches that keep making news, our personal information is being sold again and again. And crooks keep finding new ways to use it.
In the industry, we have a special term for it. It's called acupuncture.
Here's how it works. First, the ringleader, usually someone in China or India, recruits Uber drivers to take these ghost rides. For this driver, it started with an invitation from a friend.
And they tell me they're going to Jacksonville, Florida, and not taking a passenger, but still getting paid for it.
And you thought?
I thought, wow.
Once she expressed an interest, she was put in touch with that man in India, who used Facebook Messenger to communicate.
I tell him I need a ride from a certain place to a certain place. He goes ahead and initiates it from there, and I just accept the ride and take it.
That man in India initiates the ride by hacking into existing Uber accounts. People usually don't notice because he swaps out the credit card information with a stolen number to pay for it. The industry calls it acupuncture because that ride request is made right where the driver is located, ensuring they get the gig. And once that driver makes it to the destination, the man in India gives him a good review and a tip.
And then you, in theory, would turn around and give him back what?
About 40%.
That's the final step. Stolen money pays for the ride, but the money being wired by the driver back to India is clean. Patrick Kelly, the Chief Technology Officer for Critical Path Security, says, welcome to modern-day money laundering.
I guess I was struck between, wow, this is a thing, and how ingenious. You know, it may seem like just a little bit of money per transaction, but if you start looking at this, exponentially, then it adds up pretty quickly.
Already, crooks are trying to skim more out of the deal, using Uber Eats to place fake food orders. Here's a message from that man in India trying to recruit our driver to get involved. The restaurants do not have to prepare anything, and you do not have to deliver anything. Just the promise of cashing in on a big payday. Kelly worries it's not just stolen credit card information being used.
We have breaking news right now. The city of Atlanta's computers are being held hostage.
He says schemes like this can be used to launder money from ransomware payments.
Drug trafficking, human trafficking, child exploitation.
Exit right to I-85 South.
This Uber driver never did wire any money back to India and says she only took a handful of ghost rides to expose what was going on. But she knows plenty of drivers willing to do it, especially when those normal fares slow down.
Well, I know somebody that's doing it full time. They're probably making over $1,000 a week doing it.
Well, Uber says it's the company that foots the bill for fraud. Consumers have the headache of proving they didn't take the ride and clearing their name. This driver says she has no interest in fueling fraud.
Why isn't it worth it to you to do?
Because I know what's right and what's wrong.
On the road, there is black pavement and white lines. To this driver, there is no gray.
And this just feels wrong.
Absolutely.
I should note, Uber isn't the only victim in this. I know a Lyft driver who was also involved, and I've even read about Airbnb houses being used as fake rentals, all in an effort to launder money.
So is anyone trying to stop this?
Uber's the victim would actually have to contact the FBI in this case in order to try to press charges for wire fraud. Obviously, investigators aren't going to go all the way to India or China to go after a con man. So it really is those people here locally. I haven't seen them do that yet. So it's really going to be up to educating the drivers, understanding what's involved so that they just don't take these rides, or people just protecting themselves.
So that raises the question, how do we protect ourselves?
Uber stresses that while these hackers are using the existing accounts to call for the rides, the information's encrypted, so they're not seeing your personal information. That's the other reason why they're having to use that stolen credit card information to actually pay for the ride. But people just don't like the idea of their account being used. So you can block it by setting up two-step verification. It takes just a few seconds, and they say that should help keep those hackers out of your account.
Coming up, a judge shocks a courtroom with a decision involving a child molestation case. Now some are demanding his resignation.
I believe it was a kangaroo court. He even said in his feelings made him feel bad. I'm like, well, this isn't about your feelings, pal.
If you have a news tip or a comment on one of our investigations, email us at thereveal@11alive.com.
And now to a judge who says he coerced a jury into a decision they were not ready to make. It's a case involving a former Hollywood star who could get another chance at freedom after a little girl made shocking claims against him no one expected.
It takes patience and preparation to raise little girls. Reading helps. Even finding the right toy can make a difference. But nothing prepares parents when another adult violates their child.
Every day is a struggle. It's hard waking up knowing that this is what we face every day.
We're not revealing their names or what they look like. Doing so could identify their daughter. But this mother and father wants the public to know about a Cherokee County man convicted of molesting their child is out of jail, and the judge who allowed it to happen.
This will destroy your life and destroy everyone around you.
The accused offender is someone no one expected.
Corey Sly, a soap actor. You probably have seen him on Young and the Restless. He was arrested in Georgia. He lives in Georgia now.
At 29 years old, Corey Sly was on his way to making a name for himself in Hollywood, landing roles on a soap opera, a movie called God is Dead, and the sitcom called All About Lizzie.
You told me that I'd be living with Lizzie again? I swear I think you're crazy.
That was the...
Kim Fry is Sly's attorney.
He worked very hard to win the acting competition they on.
But those Hollywood dreams came to a sudden halt after Cherokee County detectives asked Sly to come in for questioning in October 2016.
And the police officer tells him pretty early on, the detective says, child molestation. And the look on Corey's face is just utter dumbstruck shock.
The alleged victim, a 7-year-old girl who told her parents Sly molested her at least 2 different times when they were alone together, once in Florida and another time in the basement of a Cherokee County home. Shannon Wallace is the district attorney.
Nobody wants to believe that adults hurt children in this manner.
Nearly 2 years later, Corey Sly's criminal trial begins, and a jury is picked. Mark Nolan was the jury foreman.
It was really surprising. It was really surprising to a lot of us.
4 weeks, he and other jurors listened to the defense and prosecutors argue over essentially 2 pieces of evidence: a video of the minor interviewed by a counselor and another video of Sly interrogated by police, both providing what they claim happened. And then it was time for the jury to deliberate. Their decision, though, did not come quickly.
On 3 occasions.
So 3 occasions you came back to the judge and you said, we can't come up with a verdict.
When we came out, I said, so we're all deadlocked, right? No one's going to change our mind. I think it was 8-3 or maybe 7-4 at that time.
Under Georgia law, jury convictions must be unanimous. The jury foreman then sent the presiding judge, David Cannon, a handwritten note on behalf of his fellow jurors.
I basically said, how long can you keep us here? And he came back and said, oh, Mr. Nolan, you don't want to know how long I can keep you here.
Judge Cannon ordered the jurors back to deliberate again, their 4th attempt. This time, though, the jurors had a request. They wanted to watch the videotape interviews of the little girl and Sly's interrogation by themselves.
It was just us having the ability to play the tape back and forth. That was the most compelling thing that came up, because we all heard exactly what he said, which matched what the young girl said.
They took one final vote, this time to convict. For the victim, her parents say the verdict felt like the first opportunity for their daughter to heal after 2 years.
I mean, she's just the strongest person I know.
I'm just glad that she stood up for herself and that we've done the right thing as parents to stand up for her.
But those feelings of relief were short-lived after something happened in court no one saw coming.
He pretty much caused a bunch of ignorant hillbillies.
Were you guys blindsided?
Yes.
Up next, a convicted TV star gets another chance at freedom from a judge who says he made a mistake.
This is extremely rare. This just really doesn't happen.
A jury finds a rising TV star guilty of molesting a child. But instead of sentencing the accused, a Georgia judge does something so rare, it shocks the legal community.
2 newlyweds share a moment of happiness while their world slowly collapses around them. Months after this video is taken, a jury found the husband, 31-year-old Corey Sly, guilty of child molestation. A rising Hollywood star now facing prison time after a 7-year-old girl accused Sly of inappropriately touching her at least 2 different times.
It was crushing for the family, his parents especially.
Kim Fry is Sly's attorney. She says the girl's claims are false. Why would a little girl make up that story?
That's the state's argument every time. Why would somebody make it up? Why does any child make up anything?
Fry believes the little girl made up the story after getting caught watching online pornography, a claim the victim's parents deny.
Many people will lie to get themselves out of trouble. Children often will lie.
But the jury found the girl's story credible. About 2 months after the conviction, Sly returned to the Cherokee County Courthouse this past September for his sentencing, facing 5 to 20 years behind bars. Then something happened no one expected. Instead of telling Sly how long he'd spend in prison, Judge David Cannon announced, "The jury came to me 3 times and asked me to let them off this case, and I said no. I had a knot in my stomach for about a week after this trial. I'm going to grant a motion for a new trial." Hours later, Sly bonded out of jail and remains so today. Were you guys blindsided?
Yes.
Shannon Wallace is Cherokee County's district attorney.
3 days on deliberating, to me all that says is the jury took their time and wanted to do the right thing, which was their job.
Oh my God, it was such relief.
How rare is this?
This is extremely rare. This just really doesn't happen, but it happens in cases where justice demands it.
The day after Judge Cannon ordered a new trial, someone posted this on his official Facebook page, writing, "Your Honor, just heard what you did yesterday. All I can say is, it's a disgrace. Kangaroo Court Cannon should be your new nickname." Who wrote that?
I did.
Mark Nolan was the jury foreman in the case.
I believe it was a kangaroo court. He even said, his feelings made him feel bad. I'm like, well, this isn't about your feelings, pal. This is about, we weren't allowed to have our feelings. He admonished us on several occasions. Hey, you can only go with the facts.
Judge Cannon declined interview requests for this story, but he did respond to the jury foreman's post, writing, "I determined in retrospect I should have granted your request for a hung jury, explaining that sending them back to deliberate coerced you into a verdict." The judge later deleted his post. The judge told them to go back and deliberate, and they did, and they came back with a verdict. Why not accept that verdict?
Because they felt like they were never going to be able to leave without a verdict, and that's not the law. That's not what fairness demands.
This isn't the first time someone has criticized Judge Cannon's actions related to a child molestation case. In 2017, Canton police arrested 33-year-old Justin Ellis, accused of multiple sex crimes against a 9-year-old girl. Despite objections from the DA's office, Judge Cannon signed this bond order, allowing Ellis to go to a Florida resort called Give Kids the World Village, which provides free tickets to Disney World, Universal Studios, and SeaWorld. Do you think he owes it to his constituents to explain his decision?
I think he owes it to his constituents to resign.
What is the point of a jury trial? What is the point of the jury trial if you're not taking what the jury says?
A man given another chance to prove his innocence, and a little girl who may have to face him in court again.
She's not the same person. She never will be. I can see that. I just see it in her eyes.
We feel that our justice system has failed us.
So, Andy, what happens next in this case?
The district attorney is in the process of appealing the judge's decision. If this case is retried, it could be another 2 years until that happens.
What about the judge? Will anything happen to him?
The DA has essentially requested he recuse himself from this case. He has refused. The jury foreman has filed an official complaint with the state board that investigates Georgia judges. We'll let you know what happens.
If you have a news tip or a comment on one of our investigations, email us at thereveal@11alive.com.
"11 Alive" is launching its first ever podcast, delving into two notorious cold cases. In 1965, Mary Shotwell Little vanished from Lenox Square Mall. Less than 2 years later, Diane Shields was found brutally murdered in the trunk of her own car. Investigative journalist Jessica Knoll is working to uncover whether these cases are connected in her 7-chapter podcast series, 5 Roses.
Here on 11 Alive, one of the most acclaimed investigative units in the country takes on a new challenge, the 6 p.m. news. I'm Faith Abube. Sundays at 6, the 11 Alive investigators present a different kind of program. The Reveal will expose inequity and injustice. Immersive reporting that prompts change. You've been watching The Reveal, a show dedicated to impact investigation.
And we'll see you next week on The Reveal, where news is made.